While the SVP of Broadband Solutions at Rare Medium, a global digital services company, Paul Roberts gave an internal presentation outlining his organization and the interactive television market in general.
What I brought with me was a 24-slide presentation, but I'm going to try and do more sort of talking rather than clicking and reading because I think there's a lot of sort of misunderstanding about what broadband is. What I'll do is I'll start to move through this presentation a little bit, and it'll enhance and expand upon the things I just mentioned that I'll cover. And I'll try and go through this kind of quickly because I want to get to the sexy stuff, which is the DVD that I brought that actually has a demo of what a broadband experience is. And this is the part that I think everybody will kind of go, wow, that's pretty cool. And the business implications of that are really exciting. So I'm Paul Roberts. And what have we done? Well, we took our award-winning internet solutions expertise and combined it with broadband-specific technology acumen and took our media professionals, people who understand how the media industry works, and we've put them all together into this group called Broadband Solutions. As with other industries, this broadband experience affects media communications segment in profound and exciting ways. The thing that's interesting to note is, in media communications as a segment, there have constantly been, technology innovations that have made them adjust. I mean, if you go back and you say, well, the first media communications industry was the printing press, and then you move up to photographic media, and then you move to electronic media, say late 19th century still photos, early 20th century motion pictures, radio, television, feature films around late 19th century. Now, cable television, late 70s. Now we're looking at the implications of this interactive television combination web functionality broadcast TV experience thing that is commonly slotted underneath the term broadband. So it's not new to the industry. They've constantly had to adapt and adjust to technology innovations against their business models. This is yet another example of it. What's interesting to note is this one's happening much faster than the other ones did. It's just like everything's accelerating with these innovations. So as I go through this, it's important to sort of keep that macro map of just the historical impact of this on the industry in mind, because you can learn from what they did before, and I'm talking about the big media conglomerates, what they did before as it related to technology innovations, and you can be very opportunistic about how you react to it as a business and how you take advantage of it as a business. So I'll talk about that a couple of times. So anyway, as with any significant change, if these companies don't act, they run the risk of losing market share and basically having their business models begin to slow down, which none of them want to do. Conglomerates, like any publicly traded company, constantly want to grow. Revenue growth, expansion, etc. So how does the media world work? Well, it works through the distribution and creation of content. That's what drives the media conglomerates. I'll go through a little bit what I mean by media conglomerates here in a second, because those of us who interact with all these different channels of communication, be it print, television, feature films, live venues, music, most of that experience that we have in our lives in North America is controlled by one of 5 conglomerates. And that's really kind of sobering when you think about it. And I'll go through it here in a second. So what are we doing? Well, we're taking this Broadband Competency Center and the specialized group of professionals, and we're advising these industry players on how to deal with the impact of this technology for tomorrow. That's really where we are. It's very early. And when I say early, I'm talking like 24 months early as to this being something that really impacts their financials in terms of their market share and their mind share. This being broadband, an ITV type experience. But we're very lucky in that we're doing it early. I mean, this is kind of unique for Rare. We're kind of playing catch up in some other areas, but on broadband we're actually in pretty good position. It's one of the reasons I took the position, because it is early. So we're integrating traditional media with interactive functionality, e-commerce capabilities, and we're focusing initially on television enabled by digital set-top boxes. Now, there are other ways to enable that experience into a television, a consumer TV experience, but we're focusing on cable and digital set-top boxes because we anticipate their penetration and their critical mass happening first. And I'll explain that here in a second too. In fact, this is sort of the simple picture that explains it. The thing to take out of this picture, I say it's simple picture, it doesn't really look simple when you first look at it, but this is distilled down about as simply as we can. On the left, what we've got is the consumer, And there are two venues to have a broadband experience, basically. A television set and a PC monitor right now. In the next column there, you've got your original equipment manufacturers, and these are basically the devices that are allowing a consumer to have that experience. The one on the top, a digital set-top box, and those are the major manufacturers in that category. That's where we're concentrating in the Broadband Solutions Group at RARE. Why? Because that one's going to have penetration first. All the research points to it. Meaning there will be people to experience this from the cable subscribers, you know, the major multiple systems operators, people who you pay your cable to each month are going to have these boxes in people's homes faster than anybody else, simply because they're a captured subscriber network. So they'll say, hey, you want to have a digital ITV experience? It's $20 more a month to your subscription fee. We'll have our technician to your house tomorrow, and they'll begin enabling these homes with broadband experience. There's a fair amount of confusion associated with what it means to say broadband. I mean, some people look at that as a technology definition. Some people look at it from the standpoint of what are the business implications, and other people look at it from the standpoint of what does it mean to have that experience, to sit in an experience where you're combining, you know, a broadcast television type experience with a commerce-enabled internet e-commerce type experience. And we look at it from all three perspectives, and that's what really encompasses our service offering. And we look at it from all three perspectives, custom to the business goals of our customers. And I'll go over that a little more in a second. But we've decided to build our business model initially to focus on the cable MSOs and the digital set-top box enabled ITV experience. And the reason we've done that is our direct client experience with Cablevision, plus we feel the research proves out that they're going to get penetration first. Doesn't mean we won't look at these other venues in the future, but right now we're focusing on that. And then on the right, you've got all your content services companies and some of your third-party services. These are the people who have the content that has to be ITV enabled. What we're looking to do in the future, when there's a critical mass, is look at the business opportunities associated with creating our own content and then licensing it, because we'll have a year or two of creating that kind of content under our belts. So it's pretty exciting to think about the implications of that. So here are the big conglomerates. These are the biggies. Disney, Viacom, Time Warner, AOL, Sony, News Corp, and Bertelsmann. Some of you may have heard of Bertelsmann lately with respect to Napster and their acquisition of Napster. What's really important to keep in mind is that these are massive companies. In fact, I brought a little chart here. I'm just going to do this for the visual impact. This is a 3-foot by 6-foot wide chart. And within this chart, we have mapped out every media conglomerate's holdings along the 7 major communication channels that they have holdings in. And those channels include broadcast television, cable television, feature film, publishing, live venue, music, gaming, radio, and internet and new media. And this is a huge thing. I mean, so when you look at this, you got to focus, right? You got to pick a place to say, we're going to carve a niche out and we're going to deliver a valuable service against this landscape in a segment that we believe we can have positive financial returns on almost immediately. And that's why in our strategic engagement that led to the creation of our business plan, we decided to focus on digital set-top boxes and cable MSOs. Not only because we already had a major client there, but we feel like we will be able to go bag the other 7 or 8 MSOs in a shorter time frame because we will have proven ourselves. The major channels for their distribution of content, I mentioned them all. This bottom right-hand bullet here, Internet, ITV, Enhanced Television, that's the one where we're focusing our services on. Okay, so why don't we zoom in on one a little bit? Well, and this is sort of a blow-up of the AOL Time Warner slot out of that big chart. The thing that we need to know about the conglomerates is a number of them have cable holdings, both in the content creation cable side and also in the cable network side. When we say multiple systems operator, like Cablevision, they tend to have both. They both operate a network and they have some content creation capability, or they license content from other parties. With AOL Time Warner and the pending merger, the implications on the media landscape are huge, because you've got essentially an internet company buying a old guard media conglomerate company. This is a huge sort of signal to the world that ITV is coming, and it's coming for real. That's why, you know, our group is so relevant to the times and the way the landscape is shifting around. So I decided to zoom in on this particular conglomerate to show you how our business is going to focus on a client opportunity. So if we zoom into the Time Warner AOL landscape, that's what their major groups look like. And these groups range anywhere from $3 to $9 billion in revenue each. So this is a massive company. So let's zoom in on this one piece over here called Time Warner Cable. That's where we're going to focus a pitch. So that's the org chart for Time Warner Cable. Fortunately for Rare, a new hire that I just made, a salesperson on the West Coast, knows the president of Time Warner Cable, Glenn Britt. He can go to Glenn Britt and say, guess what we've been doing for Cablevision, a very similar company to yours. We have actually the capability to do working ITV, programming that has commerce enablement on the back end. Would you like to share in some of the revenue associated with that? Or would you like to enable your properties with that revenue? How many subscribers do you have? Cablevision, I think, has 9 million subscribers in the New York tri-state area. Time Warner's like 5 times as big. So we're going to kind of go pitch here. So that's sort of our targeting policy for our new clients. This is a similar relationship map to the one I just showed you for Time Warner, but this is real. This is us today in Cablevision. Our relationships with the CEO, Jim Dolan, Brian Media, the EVP of eMedia, and all their properties. There's a little logo in the corner there, a little legend in the corner that breaks down the type of work we're doing for them. We're doing actually 4 types of projects. To date, this is about a $3 million client for Rare in 2000. We're currently working on about $950,000 worth of work through the quarter. Coming up next year, we have 9 additional opportunities with Cablevision along the ITV and broadband over the PC lines of service. So this is a really good client relationship for us. What's our focused business concept? We're going to offer services to cable MSOs initially along the following breakdowns. These are the services that we're identifying out of our group. Strategic, creative, and systems development services initially, and then eventually content, products, and services. So think of it this way. We're going to build a group that's going to charge a fairly nice rate, creating a profitable services organization for at least a year, where we will begin to get the techniques, the tools, the insight, hopefully the expertise and the acumen necessary to very efficiently create our own content for this ITV environment, which we will then hopefully license back to the people we're doing work for. That is a big business. ITV licensing of intellectual property is hugely profitable. How are we going to compete? Why us and not Sapiens or Razorfishes or fill in the blank broadband solutions group to win some business going after these MSOs? Well, one of the things we have in our advantage is obviously the Cablevision account and the fact we've actually done the work. The other thing we have, I think, in our favor is that we started looking at this almost a year ago, pretty seriously. In fact, Rare has invested millions in this effort today. So we actually do have some momentum against being able to credibly do this work. So I think the others are kind of playing catch up to us, which gives us an advantage. Also, I think we're very good at clearly articulating what we can do for them from a strategic perspective, as well as from a technical perspective and a user perspective. When you mix that proposition together, when you walk into a client prospect, it's a very, very good sell. And I think today we have enough demonstratable work and enough positive referrals coming from Cablevision that we can close a lot of business quickly. We're going to have alliances, and we're going to have partners to pull off these big initiatives, just like a Corporate Express or just like a Wyndham or whatever project you want to point to. So as a result, we're working to forge connections and relationships with these major players. The most relevant relationships we have today are probably AOL TV. We have insight into some of the other boxes, Liberate. So we're really making sure that we can get to the boxes, so when we do our prototypes and our development, we know they actually work on them. There's other alliances that we're looking at for other parts of the equation that we might need. Change management for the organization. We might want to go out to a Big 5 consulting firm for that, because if you go to Cablevision, you really do change the company's model and it becomes an ITV-focused company. There's going to be things associated with their accounting and their sales and their administrative management and just basic facilities, all that stuff. We're going to probably need a partner to deal with the implications of that. We're also going to create strategies for sales and marketing. I've sort of spoken to some pretty basic blocking and tackling. Lead with your best story, sell with a credible client behind you. Create demonstration materials that are compelling and easy to understand. Be really clear in the strategic value of your vision. These are pretty basic selling propositions. We're going to expand those out. Keep an eye on our competitors and make sure our propositions stay unique and fresh and valuable against the competitive sets.